Have you ever met someone, either online and in person, and you've instantly felt that there's something special about them, something unique, something that stands out, that draws you in? Perhaps you even become a little bit obsessed. You watch all of their videos, you gravitate towards them, you listen to all of their music, watch all of their movies, whatever it may be. You become a little bit obsessed. You feel perhaps they're on a pedestal, and in contrast, you're a little bit below. You feel a little bit less than, and that you feel like you could never aspire towards truly being like that person. You admire from a distance. We're going to explore these ideas through this book here, Inner Gold, from Robert Johnson. And what if I told you that this is less about the qualities they hold and they express, but your gravitation towards them is more because of qualities that are latent and unlived within yourself. And that dynamic, that pulling towards them, is the attempt from your own psyche to reach towards wholeness. We're going to explore this idea today. We're going to look at why it happens, what it's costing us, and importantly, we're going to look at as well how to draw back these projections. So first of all, what is this gold I'm talking about? Many of us are familiar with the idea of the shadow, and we may be familiar with these ideas as being this kind of dark, repressed aspect of us, the kind of swamplands of the soul, as James Hollis calls it, where there's this element of darkness, anger, envy, hatred, jealousy, all of these elements of human expression that we don't like about ourselves and we push down. But what if I told you there's a lesser spoken about aspect, which is the golden shadow? This is where our unlived potential lives, our capacity for greatness, creativity, altruism, all of these lighter, more golden shadow aspects of ourselves that are equally as repressed. If you think about why this happens, you can look back to your origin story, what happened in childhood. You can think maybe what it was like from a very simplistic perspective. What was it like to, keep bringing art to your parents after school? Was it received? Was it on the fridge? Was it admired? Or was it thrown in the bin? Discarded, rejected? Another one would be your ambition. What was it like when you held ambition? Perhaps as a child or as a teen, that you wanted to aspire, you wanted things for yourself. You had ideas, you wanted to actualize those ideas. Perhaps your family of origin or the culture that you lived in had the tall poppy syndrome. The more you stick your head up, the more aspiring you get, the more people want to knock you down a few pegs. And so then your ambition gets pushed down, your ambition gets repressed. And so the gold is the reaccessing of these capacities in yourself. But you can't access it directly because it's repressed, because it's split off. And so what happens is you experience it outside of yourself. So the aspect of projection is simply these qualities that are within you, you find outside of yourself in another. It doesn't have to just be another person. It can also be nature. It can also be art. It can also be other things. But typically we encounter it in other people. So when we come across someone that themselves aspires, that themselves is in the limelight in some capacity, it could even be in a small scale. It doesn't have to be some big, great celebrity or hero thing. Just even on a small scale at your local school or college or uni, whatever it is, that there's that person that might stand out that's maybe had a positive impact or something like that. There's something about them that's either aspiring or threatening. But particularly in this lens, you feel yourself drawn towards them. You want to get closer. And the more closer you get to them, the more you begin to feel yourself, these qualities coming alive. This happens really clearly in romantic projection. So if you're a big romantic, you're not going to like hearing this. But a lot of the process of falling in love is also a projection of this gold onto the other person. And the reason we know this is because you might notice you don't really see them for who they truly are. You see them with this golden glow, this golden light when you're in them. Maybe. But when you're with them, you feel an element of closeness. You feel wholeness. It's kind of like Plato's other half story, it's like there's this other person out there that's perfect for you, your ideal other, that when you meet, you're going to finally be whole, you're going to finally belong, you're going to finally be complete. But there's a cost. All of the time and all of the moments in which it lives outside of you in the other person, you might notice there isn't just this pedestalization that happens. You might notice you yourself feel lack in comparison. You might become a bystander, a witness to their greatness, but you might not ever take those steps yourself. And so you begin to passively just watch and admire from a distance. And that's the cost. These are unlived potentials in yourself that are getting excited. They're beginning to come alive. That's why this person feels so special towards you. So the real shame is to not begin to engage yourself, to begin to reclaim these aspects. Because that's what your psyche is trying to do here. From a transpersonal perspective, you could say that this act of projection, especially as positive golden projection, is an attempt for your psyche to reach wholeness. And it's trying to reach this wholeness by projecting outside of yourself so that you can encounter it, become frustrated, and begin to bring it back again. And eventually, because you feel less than, you notice that your dark shadow elements begin to come through. You might begin to want to pull them down from that pedestal. You want to tell them they're not so special anymore. Actually, they're very flawed. Actually, there's something wrong with them. You get angry, you get frustrated, you get disappointed. What was once special, unique to you, becomes disappointing, frustrating, and agitates you. So, how do we begin to bring it back? Notice these moments, particularly of intensity. When something is intense, when you feel like in this moment something is happening that feels out of proportion to the moment, that there's a lot of charge, a lot of affect that happens. That simply means that your internal world is getting stirred, that there's a lot that's beginning to happen emotionally, emotively in you. You can be sure that projection is happening. So really keep a keen eye on those moments. You know, when does someone capture your attention? When do they inspire you very quickly before you've even kind of actually got to know them and understand them? When you're walking down the street and you see someone particularly attractive or with particular qualities that you like, and you notice a strong charge, a strong internal stirring that begins to happen, you can be sure projection is at play. Also the same on the negative pole of something that really bothers you, that seems out of proportion again. Maybe someone's just wearing a particular type of outfit or something like that, and you just find yourself pissed right off. You can be sure that's a clear sign again, projection is happening. And so notice that charge and name the quality that you feel is being projected out. Is it because this person seems to hold a level of confidence that you find threatening? Is it because they're extremely creative and you want to engage with and be close to your own creativity? Is it because of some other quality, but you need to name it? Notice the charge, name it, and begin to realize that this can be a quality in yourself. What would it be like to own your own confidence? And you may notice at this step, this is where the pattern hits up against a wall. Because you may notice the reason this is discarded, pushed away and buried in the shadow in the first place is because of that history element. It was shameful for you to own your own aspirations, your own creativity, whatever it was. And so shame is a gatekeeper that prevents you from being able to reclaim these aspects of yourself. And so as you begin to notice the shame, you can begin to notice that that's another process you need to work on. And as you begin to work through that, as you begin to reclaim your gold regardless, step into your own ambition, you can also feel what is that quality like in your body? What does it feel like actually to feel confident, to feel courageous, to get excited about prospects and aspirations and ideals and art that you want to produce, music you want to produce, whether it's a creative project, a video, whether it's something different altogether, whatever it may be, really feel somatically in your body, what does it feel like to embody, to inhabit that quality? And then own it and take action. take action on that quality. Begin to do the actions that this quality would create for you. Act courageously. Take risk. Start a project. Whatever it may be, that's the next step. You're beginning to own it again. And you may notice this golden shadow projection, the charge begins to diminish. You find yourself less obsessively hooked by individuals. You find yourself less in this pedestal, top dog, underdog dynamic, and you find yourself stepping more into your wholeness yourself. And so as you go through this process, you notice these people outside of you, you notice the sort of diminishment within, and you begin to reclaim. You may notice as you go through this process, you begin to come into a deeper relationship with yourself, a deeper relationship to the world, and these hooks begin to become less intense. Let me know what golden shadow qualities you feel you've been projecting out, and hopefully you'll begin to reclaim them, and hopefully this video has been helpful. I'll see you in the next one.